Hi class, to introduce myself, I am Mrs. Pieper. Before I get more into that, I'm going to talk about myself today first, and then rules and regulations, and then we're going to move on to fun little activities. So we're going to break down syllabus day a little bit. Like I said, I'm Mrs. Pieper. I'm soon to be Mrs. Volts. I'm going to be getting married pretty soon here next summer. I grew up in Watertown, South Dakota. I have two siblings, an older brother and a younger sister. I went to college at Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota. That's where I met my fiance, and I have my bachelor's of science in computer education with my minor in art. So graphic design kind of fits into those little spectrums perfectly. I teach about 6 other classes if you're interested in taking them. I'm going to get into more of those later, just so you can get an understanding of what graphic design is. And graphic design is 101 is intended to be the first course in the computer-aided page design. This skillful combination of images and text become the core of this course. And this class will be split into half studio class and then half demonstration. And graphic design is anything from a postage stamp to a giant billboard, and graphic design is everywhere. You can see it in a design of a cup, in the paper, in a magazine. You can't go a day without seeing some sort of graphic design. And understanding how to apply your basic concepts to presenting a unique idea or persuasive material is critical to an audience to get them to buy it. So we're going to learn about like typography, image space, color, forms, and integrate it into our term. And each section is going to be made into a project. So you're going to have one typography project, one image space project, a color project. And the main emphasis of this course will be you and your work. And by actually taking risks in this class and experimenting, making mistakes, which is a normal thing, is to make mistakes. And creating with the computer, there's a lot to be learned in this course. And like I said before, we are learning a new topic. And from the first part of this class, I will show you a new concept or a new idea, and I will do it by myself. So you guys will watch the computer screen, take notes. Then we'll do it together. And then we'll do it by yourself, and then I want it turned into my Google Classroom by the start of the next day. Once I finish a concept, we move on to a project, and there'll be 5 projects total. And furthermore, to start off the class, I will have you guys write down 3 things that you learned the day before that. And then at the end of the class every day, I want you guys to write me 3 things that you found interesting about the class that day, concepts that you didn't understand, or things that you'd like to learn more about, because if you think something's interesting, I want to get more into that topic, and knowing that I can stay in there for a little while instead of moving forward if you guys find something a little boring. So we're going to talk about grading now. Grading is going to be given for each project and assessed in the form of a project rubric, and I will give you guys a rubric every time we start a new project. And with that rubric, it's going to be split into 2 different sections every time. And within those sections, there's going to be specific sections for what we learn for that project. So every project rubric is going to be a little different, and each one's going to get a little more specific. But to start with, it's going to be split between points for creativity and points for design. And creativity is your idea. How much effort did you actually put into this project? And the design is how well your idea was completed. And that's going to be 75% of your grade is projects, and 10% is participation, which is group discussion when we're talking about design, when we're talking about designers, when we're talking about what kind of stuff should we show in schools, what stuff should we show in movie theaters, what kind of stuff can we see on a billboard. Tests will be 10%. There'll be 1 test at the end of the year. I promise you you'll pass it. And then daily work. And daily work is going to be anything from your 3 things at the beginning of the day, your 3 things at the end of the day that I need you to answer, or little worksheets in between that we have, or the daily work that I have you turn into my Google Drive. And we'll move on to rules. Course policies. You are expected to be in the room when the bell rings, sitting down in your seat with your laptop open. I'm kind of strict on this one because sometimes laptops take a little while to get booted up. Sometimes someone needs to check their email, get something done. Well, once you get here, I want you in your seat with your computer open, please. I dismiss you, not the bell. This is the one thing that will probably get in my nerves if this happens. Stay in your seat until I tell you to leave. You have this limited time to work on these projects unless you work on them at home. I want you to stay and work in this project as long as you can until I tell you to go. And I don't want you guys lining up the door like cattle. There will always be a seating chart unless you guys prove your behavior is above and beyond. I don't want any chit chat. You guys are here to learn. I want to have fun as much as you guys do, but from past experience, I am going to give you guys a seating chart. You are all expected to listen at any time that someone is addressing the class, not just me. If someone is raising their hand and asking a question, I want you guys to all respect each other and listen to that person. Maybe it's something that you're wondering too, or maybe it's something that someone else is wondering and you're talking and they can't hear you. So please respect the people around you and listen. Bathroom passes are permitted during like non-instruction time. Just come up and ask me if you guys work in a project. Yeah, I really go right ahead. It doesn't bother me. Computers. This is where I'm going to get strict. Computers are to be treated with the utmost care. I can't stress that enough. Any downloading, installing, bypassing, tampering, altering, or any type of damage to any computers or monitors, any equipment that is in my classroom or network resources will result in disciplinary action from the student handbook. And I'm not the one who decides the discipline, it is the handbook. And I'd like to say, if you question the appropriateness of something, then not to do it. Like if there's anything with cigarettes, drugs, violence, death, anything, that's a no-go in any project. Projects are to be turned in on time. I give you guys a pretty easy due date to get the projects done. Projects that are turned in late will be assessed at a 2-point per day penalty. So if you're absent, you must work outside of class to make up the time, to make up the subtracted points. If you're absent for any reason, you will have time to make up those points. However, if you just did not turn it in, it's going to be a 2-point day deduction ever since that. Academic dishonesty is not tolerated, and originality is the key component to this art class. It's pretty easy to find out if you guys kind of stole something off the internet because you can grab an image and drag it into your Google and the image will pop right up if someone else's. Where else? Computer games are strictly prohibited during this class time. That includes games played from the internet or any like storage device you guys may have. Detriments will be issued to students engaging in this activity. It just takes away from my class time, and that's very disrespectful to me. Cell phones in my classroom are a phone zone. This is where I allow students to have phones on their desk because if it's not on the desk, it's below the desk, and you guys are probably not listening to me then. And we're on to the most important part of my classroom is respect. Respect is one of the most important things that you will learn. Anyone who walks into my classroom is the same and no one is better than the next. So I want you guys to forget all those cliques. I want you guys to forget who this person is outside of the class or who you think that person is outside of the class. The way people treat you is a statement about who they are, not a statement about you. And my favorite quote to tell any class at the beginning is Einstein once said, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid." So now that we've gone through all the rules, I want you to take the note card in front of you, and you're going to design a note card in front of you just with markers. I have colors, I have crayons, I have markers in the back of the class, and I want you to design a postcard with your name on it. I want 3 facts about you. I want your first and last name, your school email, and what you're most excited to learn about this class. Again, I want you to design it. It's going to be turned in at the end of the class. I want your first name, your last name, your school email, what you have learned that's like what you would like to learn, that you're most excited about this class, and 3 facts about you. I think that's going to be a great semester, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun, guys.